The Vatican has just hosted a major international conference on AIDS, and it offered church officials a chance to weigh in on a number of issues. The disparity in treatment of AIDS patients in rich and poor countries, the debate over drug therapy versus behavior change, and of course the question of condom campaigns as an anti-AIDS measure. We'll look at the main results of the conference today on the Vatican Report. I'm John Thavis.
And I'm Carol Glatz. The Vatican Conference was sponsored by the Pontifical Council for Healthcare Ministry. And the first thing to note is that they did invite outside experts who do not necessarily share the Church's views. Dr. Michael Sidibe of UNAIDS gave one of the speeches. UNAIDS supports condom distribution as a critical element in the battle against AIDS. What was interesting was that in his speech, Dr. Sidibe focused not on the differences, but on the great areas of agreement with the Church, starting with the belief that human life is sacred and the need for a greater sense of global solidarity.
I think everyone in the conference room took notice when Dr. Sidibe quoted Pope Benedict's recent statement about condoms. Now, the Pope said in a book that for some individuals, using a condom to prevent the spread of disease could be a step toward taking moral responsibility for one's actions. Sidibe said that had opened a space for dialogue on the condom question. But Vatican officials quickly quoted another part of the Pope's book, the part that said, "We cannot solve the problem of AIDS by distributing condoms."
No, right. Whatever the moral arguments may be about an individual using a condom to prevent the spread of AIDS, Vatican officials say condom campaigns do not work because they don't address the fundamental question of responsible sexual behavior. And on this issue, they got some scientific support from Dr. Edward Green, a former Harvard research director on AIDS. Green cited statistics in Africa showing that government programs emphasizing sexual fidelity and abstinence were the only ones that have really been able to lower the AIDS infection rate.
Another point made by Dr. Green also saw Vatican officials nodding in agreement. He said that although faith-based organizations have worked successfully to change high-risk sexual behavior, they sometimes are denied international funding because they don't support condom campaigns. He said that willingness to promote condoms should not be a litmus test for working in AIDS prevention.
Now, the conference heard some very good news about the success of drug therapy against AIDS. In recent testing, researchers have found that when AIDS patients are treated early with antiretroviral drugs, the survival rate goes way up, and the rate of transmitting the HIV virus goes way down. Several speakers insisted that making these drugs available throughout Africa should be an international priority.
But there was another side to that argument. Some experts, like Dr. Green, take the view that an anti-AIDS strategy that relies on drugs and medical technology is bound to leave the world's poorest people behind. They said there's financial self-interest in what has become an AIDS-related industry involving biomedical research, pharmaceutical companies, hospitals, and clinics.
The point they're making is that more resources should be employed in teaching sexual responsibility because it's a simple, low-cost strategy that, at least in several African countries, has produced good results. I'm Carol Glatz.
And I'm John Thavis, Catholic News Service.